Hey there, Adam here. Today I want to talk a little bit about the economics of a personal injury lawsuit. So, for those who don't know who I am, my name is Adam. I'm a North Carolina personal injury attorney. I also do some real estate litigation, and I am also a real estate investor. So, I am just talking about things I know, not doing it just for the SEO. So today I want to talk a little bit about sort of behind the curtains, how a personal injury firm evaluates cases, because I know that every website pretty much that does personal injury lawsuits basically will say, no consult fee, just give us a call, and we'll let you know if we can work with you. And sometimes some lawyers don't do the best job of explaining why they won't take your case because a lot of cases just won't get taken. So I thought it might be kind of interesting because I think that our firm we do a pretty good job about it. We'll tell potential clients why we can't take their cases, and that's why I'm perfectly fine with someone who is considering hiring us finding this video and sort of getting a better understanding because this isn't something that I wouldn't tell to anybody who asked me. Which I think that they're the less cloak and daggers and shadows in the legal field, the better for everybody, for the clients and for the lawyers, so that we're all held to the same standard. So there's sort of two different things to consider, primarily when it comes to whether or not a case can be taken by a law firm. There is the potential best case or expected outcome. How much money would you expect to get if you win? And then the second is what are the odds of winning? So the reason that the first one, the amount of money, is important is because most personal injury lawsuits, as you're probably aware, are taking what's called a contingency fee, which means the attorney gets a percentage of the total recovery. So most of the time it's one third. One third is the standard, and let's just say it's a $15,000 settlement. The attorney's fee would then be $5,000 because that's one third of 15,000. Sorry, that's why I went to law school, not why I went to math school. But I can usually divide by 3. So that's why the value is important to law firms because a lot of the work is going to have to happen no matter how big the case is. So, for example, we're going to have to request medical records in every personal injury lawsuit. So if it's 5 providers on a $10,000 case and 7 providers on a $200,000 case, well, do the math, figure out which one we're more likely to want to litigate. It's a lot less work for a lot more money, so it ends up not being very cost effective then to litigate a $5,000 case, a $6,000 case, because it ends up being 80% of the same amount of work for 10% of the profit. So, at a certain point, you get to diminishing returns where you can't justify the amount of effort required to get a good result. And also, there's sort of a second corollary with that, which is a lot of times with those smaller cases, there's just not that much flexibility that an attorney or increased result that an attorney can bring to sort of justify their existence. So, for example, if an insurance company is offering you $5,000 to settle a small claim, and then we come in and get involved, we may be able to get your claim to 6,000, but then you pay the attorney 2,000, and now you're left with 4,000 instead of 5. So you've actually done worse by hiring a lawyer. So it's really a double whammy. First off, it's not worth us doing it. Second off, even if we took it, you might do worse, or you might do just the same, but it took us a year instead of a month to get it done, which because they were the insurance company was ready to write you a check for 5,000. So that's sort of the first prong is the whether or not there's enough money to justify it, and any personal injury lawyer who has done cases for a while can at least get a very rough ballpark as to what they expect a recovery is going to be. I mean, if you got somebody with $100,000 in bills, then yeah, you're gonna be able to justify litigating that case. But if it's $5,000 and it's almost entirely chiropractic care, which may help, but juries don't love it, so you're unlikely to do that much better with a lawyer getting involved. At least that's our opinion. So the second category then is the likelihood of success, which sort of really is just a second part of the analysis of the cost effectiveness question. So it's just sort of basic statistics. We have a lot of cases. We'll touch over 100 every year. So we can look at it from a very long lens, long term view, and say I you only have one case, but if we take 100 cases and we're likely to win 95 of them, 98 of them, but you may be in that 2%. So it's we look at it from chances of success. Has to justify the amount of effort. So if a case is worth $25,000, but we're only going to win it half the time, well, we're looking at an expected case value in the teens as opposed to 25. It's probably not going to justify it, because also that $25,000 case, really the reason that the secondary reason you can't justify that is because a case with a pretty significant chance of losing, it means that there are facts that are against you, and it's going to just require more work. So it's maybe both drivers say the light was green. Well, you're going to have to interview 5-6 different witnesses for a 50% chance of winning. While if it's a rear end collision and the two people there say, well, it's 100% the person who ran into the other guy's rear end, then you're gonna win that 99% of the time, and most of the time the other driver's not even going to contest it. So you sort of cut out a large portion of the work, and you're going to make more money on it. So you have to balance those a little bit, but sometimes you get into the area where there's a little more choice involved, where it's it's $100,000 plus in medical bills, but it's a hard case to win. It's a 50% chance to win. Those are where the lawyer skills really sort of come in, and that's where my job is interesting, as opposed to $25,000 rear end collision, which I will absolutely justify my existence by getting you more money, but at the same time, it's not really all that exciting. It's mostly just record gathering and proving to the insurance company that I have what it takes to put it all in front of a jury, which is just not terribly interesting. But it is a necessary service. So I hope that sort of helps break down how lawyers, insurance or personal injury lawyers that are litigating against insurance companies, sort of how we think about these cases. I know it's not. It sounds so simple once I put it down, words to paper or words to screen, however you want to describe this. But it's a pretty involved calculus, where there's a decent number of edge cases where it really comes down to, you want to have a personal injury lawyer who does this a lot, because we may know that some of these cases are easier to win than they sound, based on having done a bunch of these in the past, or some that we just know that no juries, they're just not going to believe it, where especially ones where it's like a 5-mile-an-hour rear end collision and somebody ends up having to get back surgery. Those are very, very difficult to win, even if the doctor's willing to say that it was caused by the wreck. So that's sort of the value of expertise of doing a number of these cases. But I really hope you found this interesting and useful. And again, you're going to see that this channel is just sort of going to bounce all over the place based on my different areas of interest and expertise. Let me know which ones you find the most interesting, what you want to hear more about, and please, please, please ask questions. If you have specific questions about any of it, I'll probably just do a video on it, because that is sort of my primary goal, is to create a community of people that I want to interact with the content, and maybe eventually at some point put together something a little more formal on the community side. But we're a long ways off from that, as I say as I speak into the void. All right, I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know what you think. Thanks.